In this video, I'm going to describe the structure of the class, but I want to be clear that this video is not a substitute for reading the syllabus. There's other information in the syllabus that you need to read, but if you have this as the background, it'll help get through the syllabus because there's a lot of stuff in there that's just required to be in there. But it'll make it easier to understand. I know that every professor says it's important to read the syllabus, and I know most students, myself included, when I was taking classes, we ignore that. In this class, I'm going to strongly encourage you to actually read the syllabus because my class is organized a little bit differently than most classes, and it'll help you. I think actually it would be, probably will take you 20 minutes, 25 minutes at the most to read the syllabus, probably be the most useful 25 minutes, not of the whole semester. That would be kind of unfortunate if it was the most useful of the entire semester, but it'll be really useful. The class is going to introduce you to the fundamentals of American and California government and politics. The goal of the class is to provide you with the tools you need to think critically about political institutions, political actors, and processes and events that shape your lives. And that's the thing that I want to stress here, that this is a class about your life and some of the forces that shape it, both shape it now and shape it in the future. And so my hope is that by the end of the class, you'll see that one, politics is important. It can be maddening sometimes, there's no question about that, but it's important. And second, and this is probably most important to me personally, I strongly believe that your participation in the political process improves the functioning of our political system. And as we go over the course of the semester or the summer session or winter session, whatever class this is, I'll be stressing that point over and over and over again, and it's particularly true of younger students. The class will become available on campus on the first day of the semester or the intersession, whichever one class you're enrolled in. Your first task will be to read the syllabus and take a quiz that I call the Syllabus Quiz. Not very creative, but that's what I call it, the Syllabus Quiz. You must get 100% on the Syllabus Quiz. Now, don't panic, because you can take the Syllabus Quiz up to 10 times, right? So you can make mistakes and double check and look over the syllabus again, and you get to take it up to 10 times. Students who fail to do so by the end of the first week will be automatically dropped from the class. Now, part of the reason that I insist on students reading the syllabus and taking the quiz is because I want to know that you know how the class is structured. It's that important. Also, in terms of email, I'm going to be communicating with you via email on a regular basis. I send a lot of emails. My emails are automatically sent to the email account provided by College of the Canyons, your My Canyons email account. Therefore, you must, if you haven't already done so, you must set up and check your email account on a regular basis. Otherwise, you're likely to miss important information from me. The syllabus, if you take a look at it, provides a link to show students how to set up their My Canyons email account if you haven't already done so. And if you've not received an email from me by the second day of class, email me at phil.gusson@canyons.edu, because that probably means there's a problem. So let's talk about what you're most interested in grading. There are 3 components to your grade, which I'll describe in more detail below. You're going to be taking 15 quizzes, but I'm only going to count the 10 best scores that you have. So that's going to be a possibility of 50 points. There'll be 2 exams, each worth 200 points for a possibility of 400 points, and then participation is equal to 50 points. So there's a total of 500 points possible in this class. I use the standard grading scale that you see on the screen right now. An A equals between 450, essentially 90% is an A, 80% is a B, 70% is a C, 60% is a D, and below that is a fail. But One of the things I do is I calculate the grades myself. And the reason I do that is that even though this is the standard scale that people use, every once in a while, I think it makes more sense to have the break between an A and a B be different than the 450 points. If somebody has 450 points and then somebody has 449.5 points, a 5.5 difference, it doesn't necessarily make much sense to give one person an A and one person a B if there's a 0.5 difference. So what I do is I look for natural breaks in the data. Now, if you get 450 points, you're guaranteed an A, but it could be that you get below that and still wind up with an A, depending on where the biggest gap is between students who are getting A's and students who are getting B's. The second thing to remember, and this is really important, don't use Canvas to calculate your grade. I do the calculations on my own. Now, the main component of this class is going to be the lecture videos. When I designed this online course, I wanted your experience to approximate what you would experience in a face-to-face class. And so to that end, I recorded all of my lectures in videos that are approximately 10 minutes in length. You have to watch the lecture videos to do well in the class. You'll be taking 2 exams, each of which include 5 essays. Your answers to the essay questions have to come solely from the information in the lecture videos only. If your answers are based on information from the textbook or any other source, I'll assume that you either did not watch or you did not understand the lecture videos, and I will grade you accordingly. Along with the lecture videos, I provide lecture notes, a comprehensive set of lecture notes that correspond to the lecture videos. The lecture notes include definitions of concepts presented in the lecture videos. They also include blank spaces for you to write additional notes. When I'm grading your exams, I'm particularly interested in the extent to which you provide details beyond just the definitions in the lecture notes, and whether you provide examples as well. That's my approach to teaching. When I introduce a concept, I define the concept. Sometimes the definition doesn't even make sense. I follow that by elaborating on the definition so that it does make sense. And then I provide some examples, 1 or 2 examples, to let you know how this concept works. That's what I'm going to be looking for you to do as well. Your essays should include definition, an elaboration, and an example. I also provide a study guide. The essay questions on the exam will be similar and in some cases identical to the questions on the study guide. And each question on the study guide includes a rubric that describes exactly what you need to do to get full points. So there won't be any surprises on my exams. You'll know the universe of questions that are going to be that could be on your exam. Canvas will just select the questions randomly. What I recommend you do is write out full and complete answers immediately after you watch all the lecture videos on a particular topic. For example, the first set of lecture videos I call Assessing Democracy. Right? After you've watched all those videos, go to the study guide, look at the questions, and answer them then while the information is still fresh in your mind. Be sure to use the lecture notes I provide to ensure that you've addressed all of the main points in the essay question. If you take the time to complete the study guide before the exam, as you're going along and watching the lecture videos, in some instances, you'll be able to, when the exam comes, you'll be able to copy and paste your answers from the study guide directly into the exam, especially if you've done a really good job. So there are no surprises on my exams. If you're surprised by my exams, questions on the exams, it's because you weren't paying attention. That's simple. When you write your answers, follow the define, elaborate, and example approach. Now, the structure of the exams. There will be 20% of your exam will be multiple choice questions. Each exam will include 20 multiple choice questions. The multiple choice questions will be randomly selected from a set of reading questions that I provide at the beginning of class. Your answers to the multiple choice questions should be based entirely on the textbook. The authors actually wrote those questions, not me. So don't use my answers, my lectures to answer your multiple choice questions. Use the information in the textbook. On the exams also, there'll be essay questions that account for 20% of the grade. Each exam will include 5 essay questions. It'll be 2 50-point essays and 3 20-point essays. There's no word count required, right? The key is just to answer them completely. Don't write in bullet points, don't write in outline form, and you don't need to write an introductory paragraph and a conclusion. Just get right to the question and answer it. Your answer should begin with a succinct definition of the concept in the question, followed by a more detailed explanation, or what I call the elaboration, and whenever appropriate, an example that demonstrates your understanding of the concept. Now, I'm just going to be real with you guys. Despite my warning, some students invariably decide to use internet sources or the textbook to answer the essay questions. Other students work on the assumption that if they make any effort to answer the essay questions, they just write a small amount, they'll get enough points to pass the class. While that may be true in other classes at College of the Canyons, it's not true in my class. Students who use that approach are going to wind up with a D or an F. Now, I know that the students here at COC are excellent. You may not all be A students, but you're all really good students, and you have to put in the effort if you want to get a good grade in my class, or at least if you want to pass my class. Now, for students who plagiarize material, they'll not only fail the class, but I have to report them to the Dean of Student Services, and they'll take whatever disciplinary action they deem appropriate. I would really hate to go that route. Just don't plagiarize. It's easy to tell when students are plagiarizing, and it's always really uncomfortable. These are difficult times, and I don't want you guys to make it worse by doing something that engaging in academic dishonesty. The reading questions, as I talked about, will be connected to the quizzes. For each chapter that I assign, I provide 25 reading questions. This is what the authors provide. The answers to the reading questions are based solely on the information in the textbook, not the lecture videos. For the quizzes, what will happen is Canvas will randomly select 10 of those 25 reading questions, right? So you'll click on the quiz when you're ready, and it'll randomly select 10 of them. Once you're confident in your answers, just take the quiz. You have 20 minutes to complete each quiz, and you're allowed to take each quiz 2 times. But Canvas is only going to record your highest score. So if you get a 9 on the first one and a 10 on the second one, Canvas is going to record a 10. If you get a 10 on the first one and a 5 on the second one, Canvas is going to record a 10. So you don't you're not going to lose any points by taking it a second time, but at the same time you might be able to confirm that you have the right answer to the reading question. So it's a good idea to take them twice. There are a variety of ways for students to participate. The main way to participate is by posting on the lecture video discussion boards, and I'll describe that in more detail in a second. There are other forms of participation as well, which I'll describe: the administrative questions discussion board, the reading questions discussion board, and the current events discussion board. You can also earn participation points by emailing directly about things having to do with the class, or by meeting with me virtually during Zoom office hours, or by posting things on the current events discussion board. But note that I don't do extra credit. So I frequently get emails at the end of the semester with students asking me, is there some way to earn extra credit? I don't offer extra credit. Now, the lecture discussion board. What you should do is you should include 4 components when you do your lecture discussion board. Please number them by each component and leave a space between them, because it makes it very easy to read. This is what you're going to do. You're going to write down one new or interesting thing you learned from the lecture videos on an entire topic. You're going to write one thing you previously believed that was confirmed by the lecture. And then you're going to write one thing that you previously believed that you either no longer believe or you've come to doubt. And then lastly, any question you have about the material in the lecture that you either didn't understand or would like to have clarified. That's the fourth component. In terms of the administrative questions discussion board, any question you have about the organization of the class, you can post that on the administrative questions discussion board. The reading questions discussion board is used if you're looking at the answers to the reading questions and there's one that you're not sure of, you can post something on the reading questions discussion board, but you can't just say, what's the answer to question number 6 on chapter 3? You have to explain what answer you thought or answers you think might be correct and why you think that. Now, if a student sees that and they want to respond to your question, they can respond, but they can't just say, oh, here's the answer to that question. They have to explain which answer they think is right and why they think it's right. And ideally, if they could also provide the page in the textbook where they got that information, that's even better. Another way to earn participation points. And lastly, the current events discussion board. If you have questions about current events, especially if they're relevant to material we're covering in class, post those. Also, if you just want to make a comment about current events, post it on the current events discussion board. All I ask, and this is in the syllabus, is that demand, is that students are civil in our conversations with one another. We are an institution of higher learning. We have to be able to have discussions about important political events without calling into question the intelligence or character of your fellow classmates. That's it. That's the structure of the class. Now, again, as I said, don't not read the syllabus, but this is a chance to give you an introduction to it, and then hopefully looking it over will be a little bit easier. Thank you very much, and I look forward to an interesting semester and meeting you either virtually or on the discussion boards. Thanks.